Hi everyone, I am Maria and welcome to my channel. Today I am going to be watching The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou by Wes Anderson starring Bill Murray. Obviously there's going to be spoilers. I am going to be showing clips of this video that go from the beginning till the end of the movie. So if you do not want to be spoiled, go watch the movie and then you can come back and listen to what I have to say about it. This movie is a comedy drama where we follow a group of filmmakers and oceanographers while they explore the oceans. The main plot of this movie is that the boss of this team, Steve Zissou, sets out on an expedition to find a shark, or this creature that killed one of his best friends during an oceanographic expedition. And while he's on this revenge mission, he's trying to make a documentary out of it. I have just watched the beginning of the movie. I really wanted to understand what type of movie I was in for. I'm aware that this is not supposed to be a scientifically accurate movie. Actually, it is supposed to be rather nonsensical, but I still am curious to watch all of it and see what's up. It started very interesting, and I'm curious to see what comes next. So let's start. The colors of Wes Anderson. The jaguar shark.
Esteban Duplantier, chief diver. Our senior statesman, my closest colleague for 27 years. Klaus Daimler, 40.
These red hats are supposed to be an homage to Jacques Cousteau. He was this oceanographer, explorer. Actually, he was a Navy officer who then became an oceanographer and an explorer, who is known for having this red hat. If you look up Jacques Cousteau photos, you will usually always find some in which he is using this woolen red hat. These red hats were very commonly used by divers who dived in standard diving dresses. It was not a dress, it was a diving suit that you've probably seen in maybe in older movies or in pictures. These big diving suits that had this round helmet with little round windows. The helmet was connected via a tube to the main vessel that pumped air into the helmet so that the diver could breathe. Because of the constant pumping of air, many times the air inside the helmet would become very cold, and because of that the divers needed something to warm their heads. And at some point during time, these red woolen hats were very common for these divers to use. When Jacques Cousteau started his series, or his most known series, the TV stations, was it a TV station? I can't remember, the production stations? Maybe. Anyways, someone responsible for his series thought it would be a good idea that him and his team would use these hats because they thought it would give him a personality touch, right? Something that would distinguish him and his team from any other explorers out there. Basically something that would be memorable and that the public would remember him for. It seems like they were right, because every time someone talks about Jacques Cousteau, it's difficult to not imagine him with his little red hat.
Born on the Ganges. Fabio Gata, 22, frogman. Renzo Piet.
I cannot stress this enough in my videos. I know I'm talking about it not all the time, but I talk about it often. Do not touch wildlife, please, unless you really need to. This is one of the main things you learn as a biologist and especially as a diver. Do not touch anything unless you really need to. That includes dolphins, whales, corals, fish, starfish, octopuses, anything. Anything you can think of. Okay, continue.
Pele dos Santos, 30.
Seu Jorge, great Brazilian singer.
Fluorescent snapper unexpectedly appear in the shallows.
Fluorescent snapper.
This depth.
There is no species called fluorescent snapper. There are many different species of snapper. Snapper is a family that englobes over, I think, 100 different snapper species. They are very common in different parts of the world's oceans, but I do not think there is one called fluorescent snapper.
Static monitor! He's got hydrogen psychosis. Crazy eye.
Steve, they think you got crazy eye.
Get him out of the fucking water.
Esteban!
So he's saying that Steve has the crazy eye, hydrogen psychosis. I think that's what he said. There is no diving condition called hydrogen psychosis or crazy eye. There is something which unfortunately is quite common in people who dive, which is the decompression sickness or the bends. This happens when gases, usually nitrogen, in your blood, your tissues, or your joints expand and become air bubbles. And this happens usually when people are diving and ascend to the surface too fast. That's why when we dive, we have safety stops. Basically, when you are diving and breathing air under pressure, you absorb much more nitrogen than you would usually. And when you come back to the surface, the pressure decreases and air that, like for example, nitrogen, can expand and create big bubbles that can create a lot of damage to your body, and ultimately it can be deadly. The reason why we do safety stops is to allow the nitrogen, this extra nitrogen that we absorbed in the different areas or different parts of our body, to go back to the lungs and for the level of the balance go back to normal, so that when we ascend, we have much less likelihood of creating these sort of gas bubbles that can be very harmful. This is called decompression sickness. It's not called hydrogen psychosis. I do not think that's a thing. But I think they are kind of alluding to something like decompression sickness.
Like before in my life.
You say this is a jaguar shark. That's the title of your film.
It was coming right at us. I just said.
There's no species of shark called jaguar shark. There is the jaguar catshark. And in terms of feline sharks, there's the tiger shark and the leopard shark and the cat shark and the jaguar cat shark. But there is no jaguar shark. This was a made-up species for this movie.
Hey, Stephen.
Jeff Goldblum. I love this guy.
Jaguar shark.
He seems like such a cool dude in reality.
Love it. Tell me something.
I love all his interviews. A crayon ponyfish. Wow. That's so beautiful.
Thanks, Bill.
So cute. Obviously does not exist. Crayon ponyfishes do not exist. It's based on a seahorse. Oh, now I was gonna say horsefish, but it's a seahorse.
Let me tell you about my boat.
Okay, this is gonna be interesting. What are the dolphins?
This is the kitchen, which contains probably some of the most technologically advanced equipment on the ship.
Cool.
Eleanor put
Kitchen
together
is
a top-notch
super
research
important.
library.
When you're out on doing research and working 24/7 for weeks at a time, food sometimes is your only comfort. So having a good cook is so important on research expeditions.
Process our own rushes.
So now
and
this
keep a
is
cutting
more
room
like
on board so we can do an assembly
filmography.
while we're shooting.
Most research cruises do not have people on them doing documentaries. Some of them do sometimes employ science communicators to come on board and film what they're doing. At the moment, most research expeditions do not really have a camera crew or something like this.
12
to
Bible
help.
Scouts swim with the ship. They're supposedly very intelligent, although I've never seen any evidence.
Obviously fake. We don't
Here's the
have
engine.
albino dolphins swimming below the ships that on expeditions. Maybe some spies do. I mean, I've heard that there are intelligence agencies in some countries that are trying to domesticate dolphins to use them as spies. They are very intelligent animals, very easy to train. So yeah, but it's not something that would be accepted usually in a scientific expedition. Oh, there's a helmet from those suits I was talking to you about before. The standard diving dresses.
That rare occurrence when hundreds of electric jellyfish spontaneously wash onto a beachhead at once. Fabio Gata.
Electric
exactly this
jellyfish
for our attention
have their
tonight.
pajamas on. I don't think that generally jellyfish produce electricity, and there's certainly not a jellyfish called the electric jellyfish that just lights itself like a flickering lamp like we see here. The jellyfish do have, most of them, bioluminescence, so they can produce their own light, but not electricity. If you're looking for an animal that does produce electricity, maybe the most known one is the electric eel. This one does produce electricity.
Steve, what produces this effect of illumination? Is there a chemical inside the organism?
No, Ned, actually it's the reflection of the moonlight on their outer membranes.
He doesn't know anything. Ned is completely right, and Steve Zissou clearly is someone who likes the ocean but doesn't really know much about it. Most bioluminescence happens because the animals or bacteria that live in symbiosis with the animals create these bioluminescent chemicals.
Here. Oh, no.
No exceptions, everyone gets one.
You don't
Emily,
wear
Do the interns
weapons
get
in a
blocked?
research cruise.
No, they
A
all
normal
wear
one, at least. The ones I've been to, at least. Are they stealing equipment from his colleague or competitor?
Fuck, they wired it.
Okay, you cannot just go out there and grab some random scientist station, even if you know him. You need the permission of other scientists to use their equipment. Usually there's some sort of cooperation that has to go on. They give you something, you give them back. It's not like he says just like, oh, scientific community, we all share everything. That's not how it works.
Here, onto the Belafonte in 15.
You're gonna stay
Even
on
though
this
cooperation
No, we'll get it
is
back to you.
very important in
Interns?
science.
Let's see.
But it's outside IMU jurisdiction. There isn't
I
any
know,
protection
honey.
once
Look
you
at the
get
map.
There are areas near the coast of some countries that you should be very careful while sailing because there are pirates and you have to be careful. But usually if you're in the open ocean, somewhere far from the coast, pirates is usually something we don't really think about.
Apparently some crooked
What kind of
fuckers broke into my
oceanographer
sea
is
lab
this guy?
yesterday.
How awful? Did they nick anything?
It doesn't say. They probably just trashed the place.
Like a
and
millionaire
Pissed, I
oceanographer
wanna
sort of
spit.
guy.
You go-
Supposedly, Cousteau and his cronies invented the idea of putting walkie-talkies into the helmet. But we made ours with a special rabbit ear on the top so we could pipe in some music.
Jacques Cousteau participated in the invention of several important advances for diving, including the aqualung, which is considered the first self-containing underwater breathing apparatus, which, by the way, is what scuba in scuba diving stands for. He was responsible for a lot of advancements. I don't know if this is true, if he was also responsible for having walkie-talkies inside helmets, diving helmets. No, I don't think so. There are masks that you can use that allow you to talk to each other underwater. I don't know if Jacques Cousteau was responsible for inventing anything related to that. I've never heard about it, but doesn't mean it's not true in some way, shape, or form. Down they go. Oh, these look like mangroves. This looks like mangroves, and mangroves are coastal environments. And usually the top of these mangroves, which are usually shrubs or trees, are outside of the water. Sometimes when the level of water level is high, they can be completely submerged, but usually the tip and the foliage is usually above water, and then you have the roots and these sort of trunks that are underwater. They are very stable ecosystems. They are very important areas for nurturing, and they are very important in stabilizing the coast from erosion and from the environment and rush conditions that come from the sea. But it seems to me like this is a mangrove in salt water in the middle of the ocean. That I know of, they don't exist. This type of environment does not exist in reality, at least not that we've seen so far. Aw, pufferfish, that's cute. A pufferfish would not inflate just because he saw this red light. If he were afraid of this red light, he would more likely swim away before inflating. When the pufferfish inflate, it creates a lot of stress. They inflate by sucking water into their stomach. And when they do that, all the other organs are thrown against the inside of their body, which is, as you can imagine, probably not very nice and can put the animal under a lot of stress. So many times this is enough to even kill a pufferfish. So inflating is probably something they do only in extreme conditions when they feel like they don't have any other way out. And just seeing a red light like that, especially, he's just seemed to stay there very calm and just looking at it and inflated after looking at it. This would likely not happen. Goodness, next time if I ever get my own expedition vessel, I'll also put a couch outside like this. I've never been in such a submarine. I would love to. No. How deep are they though? Seems like some sort of hydrothermal vents around here. Pink snappers! Fluorescent snappers! Ah, oh, Sigur Rós! I love this band. No way. I cannot show you because copyright. Yeah, this is not something that exists. Wow. It's a beautiful, reminds me a bit of a whale shark, actually. Not the teeth part, because they don't have teeth like that. This music is so emotional to me, I don't know why, and I 100% related to the sea. That was an interesting movie. This is definitely not supposed to represent science or marine researchers. I'm not sure what I was expecting. I was not expecting this, even though I had already seen the first part. I think I was expecting more of a silly, nonsensical sort of movie, which was, but it had meaning to it. It was not nonsensical just for the sake of being nonsensical. So a very interesting movie. I do recommend it. There's some crazy pacing. I felt like at some point I didn't know what was happening. Like at some point they are like having family drama, then suddenly Steve Zissou is like an action hero, and it's like, whoa, what is happening? But yeah, definitely worth the watch. A very interesting movie. Not scientifically accurate. It's not supposed to be. I'm realizing now while I'm speaking that there's a lot to be said in terms of how this movie explores human relationships, but I'm not going into that. I'm sure there's video essays done on this movie already on YouTube, which I'm gonna check out. It's also almost nighttime, so great time to finish filming. The light from the beginning of this video is probably so much different from the light now. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much to all my Patreons for supporting this channel. If you want to subscribe to the channel for more marine biology related stuff, do so, and like the video if you liked it. And if you have any other suggestions for movies I could comment on or review, let me know down below. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.